Freeze frame your living room. The remote's guarded like it launches missiles. One kid's yelling, "It's my turn!" Another is sobbing because the ad won't skip. Somewhere, YouTube is buffering emotionally. And you're standing there thinking, yeah, totally normal. But kids don't grow up following rules. They grow up matching something quieter. The vibes of your home. And one of those vibes becomes the voice in your kid's head at 2 a.m. That's number 7. By the end of this video, you'll know which vibe your home's running and how to flip it. Number 1, the invisible wallpaper vibe. Your family's vibe is like invisible wallpaper. You don't notice it until someone changes the color and suddenly everyone's gagging. Like your house just got rebranded. Nobody signed the paperwork. It's the tone of your house, the emotional volume, the pace people move at when something goes wrong. And it speaks way louder than any "use your words," "be respectful," or "do better next time" speech ever will. Lectures fade. Atmospheres stick. Warm, predictable homes quietly teach a dangerous idea. The world is mostly safe. Unpredictable, chaotic homes teach a different one. Stay alert. Something could explode. Your kid's nervous system is recording this on loop. The background noise, the tension, the calm, or the static. They'll carry that soundtrack into friendships, jobs, relationships, even the homes they build one day. So yeah, the vibe is the parenting. Not because of the toys or the dinner table, but because of this question. How does it feel to exist here? Safe? Seen? Allowed to mess up? And here's where most families accidentally corrupt that feeling, not with big moments, but with something smaller and way more unpredictable. Fastest way to corrupt the vibe? Mood-based parenting, aka rules. But make it random. Number 2, when your mood becomes the rule book. You yell when you're tired. You're calm when you've had coffee. You enforce rules until you don't. So to your kid, it sounds like this. Respect boundaries. Okay, never mind. My bad. Make your bed. Not today. The rule didn't change. Your mood did. To your kid, you're basically 2 parents sharing one body, like a haunted Airbnb. And now your kid isn't learning values. They're learning vibes. Kids can handle rules. What they can't handle is roulette. When they don't know where they stand somewhere manually, guessing, testing, scanning your face like it's a weather map. Consistent homes give kids internal maps. They know what matters and what happens next. And consistent homes teach a different lesson. My behavior is graded by someone else's emotional weather. So when bedtime disappears because you're exhausted and magically reappears tomorrow, the message isn't flexibility, it's this. The rules depend on how the grown-up feels. And once that happens, your kid doesn't relax. They stay alert because now they're not just navigating rules, they're navigating you. And when your kid starts monitoring you, your home stops feeling like a home. It starts feeling like a mood tracking app with legs. Which brings us to the next vibe, the emotional forecast your kid checks before they even speak. Number 3, the emotional weather report your home's running. Does your living room feel like a sunny summer day or a random monsoon with no forecast? AKA, is Dad about to explode over a spoon? Kids don't just hear rules, they feel the forecast. Warm voices, fair consequences, predictable reactions. That's a mild, safe climate. But sharp tones, sudden blow-ups, rules that land differently every time, that's emotional tornado territory. And when a house has storms but no shelter, something shifts. Your kid stops playing freely and starts scanning for lightning, listening for footsteps like it's a horror movie, not sure if it's Dad or the ghost of bedtime past. That constant alertness rewires their nervous system. Not because you're bad parents, but because unpredictability teaches one lesson fast. Stay ready, something might explode. And when arguments turn personal, even over tiny things, kids download a second rule. Relationships aren't safe places. They're battlegrounds. So, later in life, they either dodge conflict or bring weapons to it. The goal isn't a silent house. It's a predictable one. Not boring, just safe. Because your teen might roll their eyes at family time, but their brain relaxes. And a relaxed brain learns. A stressed brain just reacts. So let's talk about the opposite of storm mode. The tiny rhythms that teach kids, I belong here. Number 4, the rhythm that builds belonging. Every family has a rhythm, even the ones who swear they don't. Dinner together, a weekly walk, the same dumb joke before bed, a quick high and low at the table. Those tiny loops do something big. They tell kids, I'm not just living here, I'm from here. When rhythm exists, kids know where they fit in the ecosystem. They matter. They're part of the pattern. But when rhythm disappears, everyone just sort it out. Eat whatever. Bedtime's flexible-ish. Home starts to feel less like a family and more like a hotel. Free Wi-Fi, zero emotional housekeeping. Checkout is whenever puberty hits. You sleep there, you pass each other, but nobody really belongs. And kids who feel like guests don't relax, they self-manage. They grow independent fast and quietly resentful. Belonging isn't about being in the house. It's about being of the house. So if Thursday night's always pizza, complaining, and laughing at the same story, honestly, that's not boring. That's family heritage. But if it happens once a year while everyone scrolls, the message is clear. Your background noise. Set the rhythm. Create the culture. Give your kids a script they don't have to rewrite every day. Because once kids feel they belong, they start testing something else. What happens when we disagree? Number 5, the way you fight becomes their relationship template. Every family fights. That part's normal. But how you fight? That's the lesson. Arguments are basically relationship TikToks your kid can't stop watching. Except these aren't getting likes. They're just getting downloaded into your kid's dating future. Because kids aren't scared of conflict. They're scared of what happens after it. When arguments end with silence, slam doors, or the classic, fine, whatever, kids learn a rule fast. Conflict equals danger. So they withdraw. They hide mistakes. They keep things to themselves. But when arguments end with repair, I shouldn't have said that. Let's talk. That got messy, but we're okay. You teach something completely different. Mistakes don't end relationships. They're how relationships grow. They learn whether anger means danger or just a detour that still leads back to love. And one day, in their own relationships, they won't remember what you said during fights. They'll remember what happened after. Because once kids learn your conflict code, they carry it everywhere. And sometimes that's where the real loneliness starts. Not from yelling, from what never gets repaired. Which brings us to the house that looks fine, but feels empty. Number 6, the nice house, lonely kid problem. You have the comfiest house on the street, the sofa everyone fights over, the TV that feels like a small cinema, the Wi-Fi strong enough to reach the driveway. Your router has more stability than everyone's emotions. But if the emotional cushion's shredded, none of that lands. Because kids notice when the Wi-Fi connection's stronger than the human one. When Amazon packages get more excitement than their stories. Jeff Bezos knows more about your home's emotional priorities than your kid does. When "How was your day?" is asked, but not really heard. It's not the number of toys. It's the number of listens. It's not the size of the TV. It's whether anyone looks away from it when a kid says, "I had a rough day." Kids don't need more stuff. They need more eyes up moments, more presence, more tell me more energy, more signals that their inner world matters. Because value isn't just what you give them, it's how you give it. And when emotional availability is missing, kids don't complain, they adapt. They go quiet. They stop bringing things to you. Not with a protest, with a quiet little never mind. And that never mind doesn't disappear. It becomes a voice. And that voice is number 7. Number 7, the voice in their head that sounds like you. This is the one that shows up later. In therapy, in love, at 2 a.m. when something goes wrong and no one's around. Because every reaction you have today is quietly building a voice inside your kid's head. Every sigh when they spill something, every eye roll when they cry, every time you say, "You're fine," and they're clearly not. Congrats. You just installed the "feelings don't count" update, or the classic, "I don't have time for this right now." They remember that one forever. That voice doesn't disappear. It moves in, doesn't pay rent, just criticizes everything. If home says, "Stop being dramatic," they build an inner voice that says, "My feelings are too much." If home says, "We'll figure this out together," then they build one that says, "I'm not alone when things get hard." Your tone becomes their self-talk and their emotional GPS. Kids aren't just growing up in your home. They're growing because of it. Brick by invisible brick. You're building their inner world. And one day, they walk into adulthood carrying a belief you helped install. Either, "The world is mostly safe, and I can handle it," or "Stay alert, trust no one, don't fall apart." One leads to resilience, the other to survival mode. And here's the part most parents don't hear enough. You don't have to get this right all the time, because what matters next is how fast your home knows how to come back together. That's the part that scares parents, and also the part you can undo. Now, the good news. That voice isn't permanent. It changes with repair. Number 8, the repair speed of your home. Damage isn't fatal. Delay is. Every family messes up. Voices get raised, doors get slammed, someone says something they wish they could rewind. What matters isn't whether things break. It's how fast your home knows how to come back together. Repair is the superpower. It's the moment you circle back and say, "Hey, I didn't handle that well. I'm sorry I snapped. Let's try that again." That one sentence does more for your kid's nervous system than 100 perfect days. And repair doesn't have to be dramatic. One screen-free dinner a week, asking, "What was hard today?" instead of, "How was school?" Showing up 5 minutes earlier just to be there, fixing something with them instead of doing it for them. These aren't extra tasks. They're micro-signals that say, "You matter, we're safe, we come back." Your kid doesn't need a fairy tale family. They need a family that circles back. They need receipts that love returns. When kids trust repair is coming, they stop bracing for impact. And that changes everything. And the fastest way to rebuild the whole house? One anchor habit. Number 9, rebuild the vibe. The final vibe that decides everything is whether your home knows how to reset. Maybe your home feels like an airport gate after 3 delayed flights. Everyone's slightly dead inside and pretending they don't hate each other. Everyone's there, technically, but nobody's relaxed. Conversations are short. The air is heavy. Here's the good news. Bad vibes aren't a personality flaw. They're architecture, and architecture can be rebuilt. You don't fix this by pretending everything's fine, or forcing a cheerful game night when everyone's silently furious during Uno. You start with one honest sentence. Something feels off. No drama. No family summit, just naming it. Then you pick one anchor habit, not 20. One, pick it, name it, repeat it until awkward becomes normal. Dinner at the table, 5-minute bedtime check-in, a weekly walk with no agenda. Something so simple it can survive bad moods. At first, it'll feel awkward. Silence, shrugs, someone asking, "Can I go now?" That's what new looks like before it becomes safe. Repetition doesn't just build habits. It retrains nervous systems. You're not trying to build a perfect family. You're building a repairable one. Not perfect, not Pinterest, just breathable. And one day, when your kid thinks about home, they won't remember your rules or routines. They'll remember the feeling. Home was a place I could exhale.